post on TV okwogera ku bintu ebyendawulo bamaliriza banonga bona mbiba mbaire yero olako yemwina atujje yetujja twagana neyo, and I can inform you comfortably that the two have left. They are out of the premises. We hope Mr. Mirundi will keep our girl safe till next Thursday when we have another one. But we want to join the world to celebrate the International Women's Day and ask everyone, wherever you are, to respect the work that women do, and above all, to support them wherever they need support and whenever they need support, because we are what we are because women are. They make us, they give us peace, they give us all this. But I did promise you that we'll have a different talk about education now. I have seen many people who have suffered at the hands of fraudsters. When you want to go and have your education abroad, especially postgraduate education abroad, and then you land into the hands of fraudsters who don't take you anywhere. Today I have a special team of people responsible for this. I have a whole consultant, Robert Wagubi, an education placement consultant, who will advise you on if you want to go and do your studies abroad, where do you go? How is it done? And you'll just not be told, but you'll be able to visit them tomorrow, have a one-on-one with many of the other consultants available for this fair. And I'm glad to have my brother, Jim Whiteway. Welcome to Uganda. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. I'm thrilled to be back in Uganda after the 3-year absence that COVID kept us away. I'm excited about meeting new students that are interested in broadening their academic history and their experiences worldwide. And I'm pleased to be back in the comfort of Robert, because he's been my trusted partner here in Uganda for almost 10 years now. So I know I'm in good hands when my students are coming to me from Robert's company.
You have been to Uganda before?
Many times.
That's very good. And I love the statement, your most trusted partner. One thing we have had everything done. We have the tall buildings, the arcades, the plazas, the everything. One thing lacking in our human race today is trust. I feel glad when you say Robert is your trusted partner. Just to understand, how is it done? How do I join an education institution in Canada, and why do I need you in this?
How do you join an education institute in Canada? Well, first of all, I think you have to find the institution and the program that is the fit. The thing that Canada really offers students from around the world is the opportunity to make choices. Perhaps in some systems, students decide that they're going to study commerce in high school, and that restricts them from other occupations and other opportunities. But in Canada, we can work with those students. We can provide opportunities and pathways that will assist them in achieving higher standings. What a student needs to do, I think what's critically important, is the student needs to seek out a professional that can be trusted. Because, like you say, there are many people in this multi-billion-dollar industry of international education who are making money on the backs of the students and their families. So having the right advice and having the right consultation, having guidance, and understanding that in Canada we have laws when it comes to discussing international education with students and the rights and responsibilities of the students in terms of immigration to Canada, that person must be licensed. And there's too many people that are representing our schools and our country who aren't licensed for those activities and are giving improper information. We think that by working closely together, by having a voice and a partner on the ground in the country, that we can solve those problems.
Jim, why do you think I should cross through my continent, Africa, and come to Canada for education? Are you saying that our education here is not sufficient for us to deal with our society problems?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying that the Ugandan education is such that students can come. They have the freedom to choose to be educated in other countries as well. I think what's important is our generation is changing. Obviously, I'm of an older generation, but when I look at the young people, they need to be competitive globally. They need to understand, it's not about taking global business management in my home country and then becoming a global business management expert. why not get to that point where you can study in another country and perhaps have work experience and then bring that home? Bring those new ideas or fresh ways of thinking. And I would never suggest that Canadian education is better or superior to anyone in the world. I know our education system is world class. I know that a student who comes to Canada is guaranteed a world-class education. But it's what they do with it that really matters. So that's what we're here about, is to talk to students about going abroad, gaining experience, considering new ways of thinking, new ways of solutions to problems, and bringing that home to add to the mix, to make it more challenging for the government of the day to stay in a status quo situation.
In this case, are we talking about education that I fund myself, I'm self-sponsored, or you are talking about education that those governments, Australia and the other governments sponsor or give us? What type of education are you talking about? Do I pay for myself, or you have opportunities where those governments will pay for us?
In many countries, we would see both types of students who are sponsored not only by government, but perhaps even private business. Mm-hmm. A local business here lacking someone with a skill set that maybe isn't available here, or maybe they know that technology is different or approach is different in Western society. That employer may elect to sponsor their students as well. For the most part, though, the students we are dealing with, the money is coming from their families.
Since you say you've been here several times, just tell me about the experience you have found when our students leave here to come and study in those international institutions. How do they perform? Do they catch up easily? How easy is it?
It's even more impressive than just catching up. We currently have 49 students from Uganda on campus, and when I arrived here earlier this week, we received a phone call that our student elections had just been completed. We have 4,000 students at the college, 2,000 of which are international students. And the new president of the International Students' Council is from Uganda.
Oh, wonderful.
He's from here in Kampala. He's only been in Canada for 1 year. So he's not catching up, he's taking over.
Thank you. Robert, you are even lucky that someone can say before you die, because many times we speak these good things when people are gone, but somebody has said before, when you're alive, that you are a trusted partner. How do you feel?
Wow, I thank God for that. Actually, I've been around for 20 years in this industry. I call myself chairman education consultants, because I've been around for so many years.
What is the thing of education consultant?
In this industry. It's basically.
You know, when you talk about education consultants here, we think in terms of people who are think about reforms in our education, reforms in our curricula, that kind of thing. Is that
education placements consultants. We are placements. We are basically into looking at education beyond Uganda. So we work with different institutions abroad, represent them in this part of the world, and try to promote other education systems in this part of the world. So we work with them, we are trained by them, we are certified. We have bodies that regulate us, so we are called education placement consultants.
You are known by the Ministry of Education here?
Yes, they know us, and National Council of Education knows us as well.
So which countries do you place?
We place students into the UK, Canada, Australia, even China, Japan, Ukraine, Russia, India, name it, all over the world.
These are different countries with different setups. The setting is different in each of them. How does a student know where best he can have the kind of skill set he needs?
Again, it depends on choices. Of course, the education systems are actually ranked. And according to what we know, what we are taught, or what we see, we tend to take students to those study destinations that they feel they would want to go to. But again, we don't just send them abroad. We do the screening as well. These students have, these schools, all these countries have to be having quality education that suits our education systems in Uganda. So we try to do our due diligence as well, and we try to understand those systems. Then we're able to represent them in this part of the world.
Because you speak the language I speak, I want you to say that in your local language for Basogaba, you know, there to hear.
Okay.
Njantya kuluya nani aja era aja kukola ki?
Okuja kuluya, you My Musoga is not the best. But I'll try my best.
Try your best, don't worry.
I'm a proud Musoga by the way.
Pride Musoga Wagubi, don't
Yeah,
worry.
Wagubi. So okujja kuluya kyenda ebintu Kampala kyenda waida watwagana mu office daife
In
twakubitira
Kampala here, did you?
Yeah, diri muyenga Kampala diri muyenga twakubitira mu bintu bino me twakugaidinga okujja kuluya amasomero gali Kampala so buti ife tuli ba partner n'amasomero gano ga different countries so tugezaako okuyamba twakubitira mu ebisale twakubitira mu entry requirements fees diri meka weetagisa ki okujja kuluya osomye otya okujja kuluya so tugezaako okugamagana n'ebintu byere twakumatchmakinga ne twakuyamba obite mu route eyo tukute mu masomero ago.
How about the cost implications?
The costs,
We know here that when you say education abroad, the first thing that comes to your mind is the cost, the visas, the air tickets, standard of living where you are going, the cost of living where you're going. Has it been easy for Ugandan students to study abroad?
well, again, we have to segment the market. When it comes to cost, they are what we call budgeted schools that can even afford your own cost depending on where you want to go. There are universities that are extremely cheap. Most of the public universities, like in Turkey, they are extremely cheap. In China, in Russia, they are cheap. So they are affordable. If you compare what we pay in the local institutions here, you can afford to go to those universities. Then there are those high-end universities that are more expensive as well. So we try to segment according to your budget, then we place you in that study destination. So everybody can afford to
Who
study
chooses
abroad.
my institution? Who chooses the academic institution I go to?
Basically, what we do, again, we guide you. There are certain questions we ask you, like, what is your budget? And what are you looking for? Then from those questions, we screen you and place you according to your budget. So we work hand in hand with the parents. Some of them come when they know where they want to
So
go.
I want to be an expert in GMOs. Where do you think I can go?
Now for GMOs,
Which are those institutions teach science at that level and do research based, because I'm at a level of research degrees.
okay, for GMOs, basically, again, you have to come to our offices. But we have so many universities.
But I get you and you want me to come to everything.
Okay, you should come for we are having
I
an
have come to
education.
the well to draw the water. Let me
Okay,
get the
we are
water.
having an education fair
Tomorrow.
happening tomorrow
Okay.
on Friday and Saturday at the Sheraton. We have a number of universities that have come to showcase. So I invite you freely to come there. You're going to mingle with different educators. So you'll be answered. You'll get your solution at that event.
So you have an education fair
Yes,
at Sheraton
Sheraton Hotel
Hotel
which is
tomorrow, and
starting at 9:30.
that's Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday, free entrance. So we have different educators.
And I'm coming to interact with persons from those different academic institutions.
That is true. And the gym is one of them that has come for this event.
Jim represents which one?
Loyalist College in Belleville, Ontario, in Canada.
The Loyalist College
Yes.
in Canada.
Yes.
What is it? How old is that college?
That college was opened in 1967. So in college in Ontario, prior to 1967, we had no colleges. We had universities and we had union-driven trade schools. In 1967, the premier of the day decided that there needed to be an avenue for students to go from secondary school into the workplace with the skills they required. Not the higher learning, the more theoretical learning of university, which we're not saying there's anything wrong with that, but there are a number of people that are heading towards career paths that don't require 4 years of study. They require 2 years practical hands-on. So Bill Davis, the Premier of Ontario in 67, started the community college system. We have 24 publicly funded colleges in Ontario. Loyalist happens to be one of the smallest. But we think being small is a great thing because we get to spend time with our students. We get to know where they're coming from and what their goals are, what their aspirations are. And our teachers can really figure out what do we need to do to help this student succeed. But our courses are about putting students into the workplace as quickly as possible. And to that end, we've just done a provincial survey called our Key Performance Indicators. And our students tell us that they're 100% satisfied with the education they're getting at Loyalist College. We just got employment figures back. 96% of our students are graduated. Once they graduate, are employed in their industries within 6 months. That's the highest in the province. And the next question we asked, we went to those employers and said, what do you think of these students? Are they meeting the standard? 100% of surveyed employers in Ontario this year said Loyalist College is hitting the mark. No one said we need to improve. No one said they were dissatisfied. So to us, that means our programs are relevant, they're current. When a student leaves, they don't become someone who goes into a business and stand back and watch. They come in with their skill set ready, their toolkit loaded, and they start to have an influence within the company. And that's our goal.
Do you, as Loyalist College, have any area of speciality to say, okay, we specialize so much in business training, or in sciences, or in research, or in this one? Which particular one is your
We basically have 3 schools at Loyalist. We have a school of business and marketing and media, where one of our strongest programs would be our journalism program and our multimedia program. So we actually have 3 television studios on campus. Our students are working with the latest equipment. They're the envy of the CBC, our Canadian Broadcasting System, who are also advising members on our boards. We have a very strong bioscience school, and that bioscience school has grown for us and made Loyalist College one of Ontario's smallest colleges, one of the top 50 research institutes in Canada. That's competing with universities and centers of research, but little tiny Loyalist College is top 50. Our focus is on natural products and pesticides, fertilizers, pain relief, and we have techniques and technology that will allow us to work with different industries. We also have a very strong skilled trade center. We have a 60,000 square foot skilled trade center with automotive, welding, manufacturing. We do civil and construction engineering. And these are the technical people. These are not the engineer that signs the diagram. These are the folks that are actually on the job site doing the work. So with 70 programs and 4,000 students in our college, we're keeping the local economy alive. We're allowing businesses to grow because we're providing talent. And now, over the last few years, we've changed our demographic from a school that was basically about 95% students would be from our area, to now only 50% of the students are from our area and 50% are from around the world.
Oh, so you have a free, what is the immigration policy like? Is Canada that is a country for us to get in? Because we have a lot of nightmares when it comes to visas and the rest. Is it different for education visas?
I think the same process is true. I think that the Canadian government is very careful because Canada is such a popular destination for long-term immigration. We provide one of the best educational products in the world, we believe, and that keeps us in the top 3 countries in terms of destination choice. United States and Australia, the UK, Canada. We're always sort of juggling back and forth between 1 and 2 and 3. But in terms of immigration, Canada needs new Canadians. Our Canadian government has just announced that we're making room for 500,000 new Canadians each year for the next 4 years. But we need to have the right people come. So the Canadian Immigration Council, the IRCC, are very stringent on that type of activity, on people that are applying to come to Canada to either study or work. And that's where an agent comes in. That's where a partner like Robert comes in, and his access to someone who would be licensed by the IRCC to give good advice. I think a lot of the times the problem is people are filling out an application that they're not really familiar with all the detail and how deep they have to go into those applications. Or they may think that if I say this, the government will like me more and give me a better chance, instead of being honest about their intention and their goals. So we tell our students that it's about being honest. Tell the government why you want to come to Canada. Tell the government what your plans are. For many students, the plan is come to Canada and eventually become residents of our country. If you study in post-secondary in Ontario, after 1 year of study, you're entitled to 2 years of full-time work. You can stay in Canada for 2 more years. If you study in one of our 2-year programs, you're invited to stay in Canada as a temporary resident and work full-time in your industry or in other industries if you'd like to experiment or expand your reach. You're welcome to stay for 3 years. During that time, if you've been working for
That's
a
quite
year
interesting.
and you have your degree and your English language is strong and you're working towards industry where there's high demand for jobs, there's a great likelihood you'll receive an opportunity to become a resident. But for a lot of our students, it's not about becoming Canadian. It's about becoming exposed to the world and to the globe.
It is actually one thing I was going to look at, because many of our people here lie about their intentions to go abroad. Somebody says, I want to go and study, but when they get there, the intention is to become residents there, or even to work for themselves, not intended to study. How do you check this?
Well, that's Robert's job. I mean, it starts off at that level. And when you've spent time, like Robert has 20 years in this industry, if you sit down with a student and their family, within 10 or 15 of those 30 questions, you start to understand. As a person that's working at IRCC and approving visa applications, it's the same thing. You've seen that story before. You see the themes, and you can detect that even from the documents that are there. So the big part, I think, for students who are considering international education is to work with respected, trusted, licensed partners in terms of getting guidance, and then making sure they're working with schools who are recognized and accredited by the local governments, and then have a history. Loyalist College has a relatively new history. 10 years ago, we had 40 international students. Today, we have 3 campuses in Ontario, a total of 6,000 students in Ontario that are international students. And I also have 11 schools in China where we deliver our programming to over 1,110 Chinese
Even
students.
China?
Even in China.
Even in China?
Very strong partnerships in China.
Oh, that's wonderful. Kari, Robert, maybe before we take a short break, tell me about the absorption, the level of absorption of those graduates, because you've been in this industry for 10 or so years.
Yes, please.
Do our students find it easier to get absorbed into the work industry when they come back here?
Yeah, actually,
given the difference between our education settings.
Yeah, actually, it is good that people go. First of all, I'm a case study. I studied abroad, and I'm here. I'm working in Uganda. I'm an employer. Some of my colleagues work in government, in private sector. They are entrepreneurs. So we are able. We come back and adopt and be able to move whatever is happening in Uganda. So yes, people go. Don't forget to come back. They come back. They set up. They have setups. They work with government, private sector, set up their own businesses. Others stay back there, work in those countries, but again support their people back home. So it's whatever choices you take. But at least I know for the last 20 years, many have come back that have taken out to study. They are working in law firms. They have their own law firms. They are doing their own businesses. They are employers. They are employed. So it's good. It's good. That international exposure is very important, and the skills we get from
Let's look at the steps. How do I start it? You want me to find that in the symposium, but just take me. How do I start? Who qualifies first of all? Who is eligible to study abroad?
Again, depending on what levels of entry you want to go to study abroad, we look at your documents. You have to have gotten a certain class of education for you to upgrade into studying abroad. So we screen depending on what you bring on board. If you don't qualify,
I'm a parent who wants my child to start kindergarten from abroad. What does that mean?
There are kindergarten. It's about age. As long as you fit the age of that entry country, we shall do the paperwork for you, get you the admissions, support you to do your visas. Then you go and fit in that country and study in that kindergarten school. If you want to go into undergrad, we look at your O-levels, your A-levels. You have the principal passes. We look around which schools you want to go to. We send the documents to the school. The admission team will look into your documents. When they validate and say, yes, you qualify, you meet the standards, they'll send you an acceptance letter with the terms and conditions.
You know forgery is in our country. Forgery of academic papers in our country. How can Jim Whiteway know that this degree that Simon is presenting is actually from NASA Road and not from Makerere University?
That is why we are here 20 years in the industry. I can tell a genuine document and a fake document. We do our due diligence as well. We cross-check before we confirm. Look at your documents. So we check each and every document you present to us. We have people on the ground that we consult with, and I can tell that your documents are not legit. We cross-check with the schools you presented to us as well. We need references from those schools. We don't just get documents then send to these people. We cross-check the paperwork you're giving us.
So you're telling me...
And the true forgery is too much here.
It's too much.
We limit.
It's too much. I mean, I'm in this industry. I've been in industry for 22 years. I know that forgery is almost overwhelm our industry. So you're saying that even one can go for primary education abroad. One can go for their, what we call our O-level here abroad.
Yes.
One can go for their A-level abroad.
Yes.
I can go for my first degree in one of the institutions, for my second degree, for my PhD, for all these ones?
You can start from kindergarten to a PhD level. At whatever entry point you're looking to enter any country, we can place you in that country. They welcome any category of client.
But when you compare what Whiteway says, that you have some you study for 2 years and then maybe you have other 3 years to stay. How about one who has gone for primary education? Here the cycle takes 7 years.
The primary education, you have to go through the scale until when you're going to get your hand. It's talking about after getting your diploma. You get your high school diploma, which is our HSC. Then you go for a 2-year program. Then you graduate in a college. Then according to Canada, you're given a 3-year work permit. That's what it's talking about. But again, they won't just get you from kindergarten and you start working in Canada. You have to go through the procedures, the steps until when you go, get your diploma. Then the government, according to the Canadian law, you can step back, opt to step back.
What's your motivation in this, you as Robert?
I mean, I want to see as many Africans get that international exposure. I want them to go out there, bring back the skills back home. I know we have a good education system, but also on top of that, I encourage these educators to come and partner with us in Uganda, with local institutions. Not everybody, as you said, can afford to go abroad. But if they can bring the skills and partner with local institutions, you can get the Canadian education while in Uganda, Canadian qualifications while in Uganda. You can as well go maybe to do 2 years in Uganda and progress in Canada for 1 year and get a degree, a diploma from Uganda and another qualification from Canada. The way he's doing it with China. Actually, I'm appealing to you to look into Uganda as well. Come set up in Uganda. There are so many institutions here that you can partner with. Have Canada in Uganda. So that's how it's supposed to be. Not repatriating all the time, but coming back as well. Then invest here as well. Partner with the local institutions that are accredited. Then give the qualification from Uganda.
Let's look at the content, the curricula, the difference in the curricula, which could be a big thing to consider. How do you harmonize our local curricula with theirs?
Actually, here, the deans, we look at our curriculum, we send it to them. Maybe you can take it from there.
Sure. As we were waiting to come on into the studio this morning, I was actually working on a project for one of our new partners in China doing just this. So we have their academic team in China provides all of their course documentation, and we have all of our course documentation, and one of our faculty in that department is now doing a mapping exercise comparing the two programs. We find that in the trades that we're in China, the skill sets are the same. The equipment is the same. The technology is the same. There's a difference in teaching styles. And of course, in China, there's some required courses that Canadians wouldn't have to study, the history of communism, things like that. But it becomes a very interesting overlap. It's not the Ugandan, I mean, if we were to speak of Uganda, it's not learning the Ugandan program and the Canadian program. It's how do the two marry? How do they complement each other? And there's often a lot of great opportunity to challenge students to say, this is the way we do it in Uganda, and this is the way they do it in Canada. What's the difference? Explain the difference, and what are the advantages and the disadvantages of both systems? So we really get them to start thinking about that global perspective.
When I was doing my advanced certificate here, we are studying about Canadian pre-release. Things I've never found, I've never looked at, and I keep asking myself in my daily life, how relevant were
the pre-release?
The pre-release, because you know them. I don't know what do they still exist? The Canadian pre-release, have you heard of them? What
the prairies?
Yes.
They exist.
They do.
Yes,
they do.
So what's so special about them that they become a topic for us to study them?
The prairies? Yes. Well, for one thing, there's more oil in Alberta than there is in Saudi Arabia. And the prairies are the breadbasket of Canada. This is where primary agriculture happens.
They are your breadbasket.
Yeah, the flatlands between the Rocky Mountains and that great Canadian shield that is Ontario and Northern Ontario. Those are flat plain lands and miles of wheat and barley and soy and many different agricultural products.
That's wonderful. Okay, let's have a short break. When we return, we concentrate on the Trade Education Fair, the 13th Annual Africa Students Education Fair that is taking place tomorrow at Sheraton Hotel from 3rd to 4th. And they are saying entrance is free. If you want to study abroad, there is an opportunity. Do not listen to people who have no experience in this. Do not listen to people who have also heard from others. Have an opportunity to come and visit, talk, interact with the people from the institution you want to join. Come and get professional consultancy, professional counseling, professional advice, professional guidance from the people who have gone through this. You have someone from Canada here, others will be coming from education institutions in China, in Germany, in Japan, in UK, in USA, and the others. Come and interact with these people. Come and get information first hand. Do not listen to the others. Do not cry after here. The reason we have these people is to give you an opportunity. We wanted you to know that there is an opportunity for you to first of all meet these people and interact with them. Ask whatever questions you would love to ask, instead of writing emails online, asking and then receiving answers. You have an opportunity to find these people, understand everything, come discuss the cost implications of what you want to do, the choices you want to make, which institution do you want to go to, and why must you go to that university. Let's have a short break, and when we return, we concentrate on the fair. My guest, Jim Whiteway, are here to talk to you about the 13th Africa Students Education Fair happening tomorrow. Let us look at who you expect in your fair tomorrow. Who do you think is your clientele? Who would you love to see attend this fair tomorrow?
Thank you so much. Basically, we are looking at almost everyone that will create time to come there. We are looking at the parents, we are looking at the students, we are looking at different institutions in Uganda, because maybe they would want to come and discuss with Jim and others about partnerships. We are looking at basically those that would want to get that international exposure. So we are targeting everyone, but mostly the students that want to go and study abroad, and the parents who contribute in their decision making.
So this is the category you expect.
Yes.
Let us look at what should they expect. What have you organized in terms of maybe is it going to be presentations? Am I having a one-on-one discussion with these institutions? Are there some scheduled classes, groups, discussions of 3-4 people about something? How is it done?
Basically, it's a 2-day event, and these institutions are going to showcase what they have. So when you come in, there is a proper setup. Then you go table by table according to your choice. We hand you a profile of all the participants. You screen through the profile, then you begin choosing, of course, with their programs, what they offer. Then you go wait for Jim, reach at his table, discuss with him, tell him what you want. He tells you about Canada, the programs he's running in his school. And then after Jim, you can go to another school. So it's like an open house. You come in, get information, mingle with different educators. Then when you feel you're done, you can leave and go.
We are used to things of registration and admission. Is it something I can come and do tomorrow there? I choose my college and it's processed there, and then so by the time I leave to go back to Mbarara or Busoga, where I come from, I'm registered, I'm admitted.
Again, I haven't checked through all the participants, but what I know, they will need to do some due diligence. We can't just confirm your documents there and then. This is what I was telling you. They have to screen through your paperwork and see that it's legit, you qualify for the program, then they will accept in the program.
That means
I don't expect on-spot admissions there and there, no, because there are processes that have to take place before they confirm you into a program.
Okay. That's how it's arranged.
That's how it is.
So it means you'll have to you do the process, you'll have to leave and then get feedback later.
Yeah, there will be continuous communication.
Have you in one way involved our policy makers, members of parliament, Minister of Education?
I've done this event, I think this is the 13th annual. We do it every year.
Here in
and
Uganda?
Not only in Uganda, we do even other countries. On Sunday we are going to Rwanda, then we go to Burundi, we've been to Zambia, we've been to Kenya, Tanzania. But the point I'm making is that, yeah, they are aware of these activities and we discuss with them. Involving them, I don't know what you mean by that, but we reach out to them. We write to them. They know these activities are happening in Uganda. Those that feel would want to come and work, come and partner with us, that want to come and get more information, they reach out and we work with them. I've worked with government, with Ministry of Education on many occasions, National Council of Education, and National Council of Education on many occasions. So they are aware of this.
Is there a way of local certification of the institutions, for example, the Loyalist College of Canada? Does it go through our education system here to certify and say, yes, we know that the Ministry of Education now, locally, says, yes, we know the college, it is a good one, students are free to apply to it, like we do with the banks. Bank of Uganda will give you a list of which banks you should deal with that are licensed. Do you go through those processes?
Actually, what we did with National Council of Higher Education some time back, they were trying to regulate us on that, and something is being drafted. But as far as you're working with Africa Education Fairs, we know these institutions are designated. We know they are accredited. We do our due diligence. We don't just accept anybody to come and showcase whatever product they are giving to this nation. So we do that. But in National Council of Higher Education, they are trying with agents to actually regulate us as well and have this done in a proper way. I'm sure in the long run it will be like that.
In this case, who will they be regulated? They'll be regulating you or the individual colleges? Or you want to do it as the Africa education?
And basically they need to know the educators who are coming here.
Yes.
They do their due diligence.
Yes.
And they confirm, they tick the boxes.
That these back in their countries, yes, are known, and two, they are allowed, yes, to take students abroad. Students abroad. This, yes, kind of process, because there are many people who have lost money in this kind of thing.
Yeah, that is
so
true.
You're sure that is done?
That is true.
Fine. We'll be there tomorrow. Yep. What was the experience of the last fair you had?
It was a successful fair. So many students got admissions after the events and they are studying abroad. One of the students is talked about, who is now the president of Loyalist College International, was in that event. So many are there, they are studying, and we still encourage more to come, meet with the educators, get more information. Then they will be studying in those countries.
So 5 days. Give me an outlook of day one.
Day one is going to be extremely busy, and it's also going to be broadcasted live on Baba TV.
Yes, we will do.
So I know I'm appealing to people, please come and meet these wonderful educators that we have worked with for so many years. We also visit their institutions. We don't only call them. We travel to these countries. We visit them. We see what they are offering. Then we come back home and promote what they have. So it's going to be a very busy day, and I'm appealing to the public, please create time, even if it is 1 hour, come to the Sheraton, meet with these educators, ask as many questions as you want, meet them, they will have the right answers for you.
The cost of entry?
It is free entry. We're not charging any fee at the entrance. You come in, enter, do your business with them, then leave.
Talk about lunch?
Well, we are not offering. Unfortunately, we're not offering lunch. Unfortunately. Yeah, it's an open house.
But it's free entry.
It is free entry.
Okay, and do you think the hotel will be that open to us? You know, there are people who fear these hotels. They have never entered there.
I know it is a challenge, but we've been with Sheraton for so many years, and the numbers come in. Yeah. But we encourage Ugandans, please don't fear these hotels. These are your hotels. Come to the hotel, they will accept you and attend these events.
Are you considering regional outreaches?
In a long run, we are looking at going to the eastern part of Uganda, western,
I'm born in
northern. You're born in Kaliro.
Imagine the match. You need 100,000 to move from Kaliro to Kampala, to and fro. That could be quite high for someone in Kaliro.
I can understand, and at a short notice.
But if you said Jinja, it would only take me 20,000 to come and be part of the fair. From
Kaliro to Jinja, how much time does it take you?
1 hour.
Okay, basically,
yet Kampala would be 3 to 4.
We are looking at more strategies. We shall be at one point, if we work with you, we shall come to Jinja
Right.
and set up these kind of events, go to the eastern and western part of Uganda. Of course, we cannot have everybody come to the Sheraton, but we are looking towards those kind of plans in the long run.
I think that is interesting. An outlook on day 2. What to expect?
Day two is people have overspoken and they are tired. They want to finish and go. But I know it's another day that other people, especially being a weekend, it actually
is I can also tell it will be the easiest, the being a weekend,
yeah,
especially for the parent category.
Yeah, parents come in at maybe after lunch, others come in after church. I mean, those who go to the 7th day and Adventists come after church. But the second day is also equally good as the first day.
So on both days it is 9 to 4.
9 to 4.
On both
and
days.
I'm appealing to parents and students, by 4 p.m. we are closed. People have a tendency of coming at 5, 6, 7 in the evening for the education fair. So I'm appealing to the audience that please, we start at 9, by 4 o'clock we are done. That is tomorrow, Friday and Saturday. After 4 o'clock, you will not see any of us. We are packing our bags, going to Rwanda.
Thank you. I have liked Jim's fact that he talks about the feedback from employers.
Yes.
That's very important, taking time to ask or inquire from those that are taking your students their level of satisfaction with what you are offering. Mm-hmm. We are not doing that in Uganda. And I think Robert and I, who live here, need to adopt that style. That we can do that. So it can be a survey.
Yeah, sure.
Some kind of survey to find out.
Sure, the employer's point of view.
If you got someone from Makerere and is managing your company, what's your level of satisfaction? I think this kind of feedback, if well collected and managed, should be sent back to the training colleges and be the basis for their advanced planning in how we do things.
I would take that one step further.
Yes.
I would invite those companies to sit on, in Ontario we have what's called program advisory committees. Each one of our diploma granting programs is mandated by the government to have a committee of at least 10 people from industry, senior leaders, owners of businesses, directors of corporations, sit on an advisory panel for our program teams. Twice a year they meet. They tell us about the success they're having with our graduates who are working for them. They tell us about experiences that have happened when students have been on placement with them, because all of our students have a workplace component in their studies. But they also tell us what's new in the industry, what's trending, what's maybe coming soon that our faculty wouldn't know because they're not in industry anymore. So they're helping us keep our programs relevant. They're the ones that are employing our students. So we get together with them. We have the academic specialists, the people that can write the curriculum, but industry is driving that. Industry is telling us these are the essential skills. Yes. And I've had that conversation with a number of folks here in Uganda at different levels, at different schools, at universities, and even in the government, that this is something that's easily adopted. And there's a benefit to every university and college that has this practice, is that they remain connected. So when I ask those important questions of employers, what do we do well? Where can we improve? What new technologies do we need to be prepared for? How do we better prepare our students? When we've had all that feedback from them, my next question is, how do you want to be involved in these students' education? Do you want to be a guest lecturer? Mm-hmm. Do you want to provide prototype product from your company that these students can test and do research on? Mm-hmm. Do you want to provide a scholarship for an international student? How do you want to be engaged? Because this is not about us just giving you your future growth and your future team. This is about you helping us make sure that we're meeting all the needs you have.
That's very good. Okay, I think we need to wind up this after this one long hour. The best is yet to come. Sure. I think much of the information will be at the fair. I want to promise our audience that Baba Television will broadcast the event live tomorrow, especially the opening events in the early morning. I think we're starting at 11?
At 9 o'clock.
It should be 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
We will do this. You'll be able to follow on TV. It will be fair that you go and physically attend, but for one reason or the other, if you are not able to be there, you'll be able to follow. We'll broadcast that tomorrow I want to wind up this by thanking Jim. Anything you want to tell Uganda as we wind up?
I would like to not only meet students and their families tomorrow, but as Robert suggested, if there are decision makers within educational institutions who are interested in opportunities to partner with a school in Canada, I'm here to talk to you. I've been very successful in establishing that business relationship and academic relationship in China. We've opened a school in Nigeria, in Lagos, that is delivering the first year of our business program. That was the intent, was a student would study 1 year in Nigeria and then come to Canada for the completion of the program year 2. What we found is we've been able to work with a partner in Ireland, and here's what can happen. A student can now earn a Loyalist college diploma without ever leaving home, and for 1 more year of study and 5,000 euros, they can get a degree as well from an Irish institution. So it's quite possible now for a student who would never consider an international education anywhere in the world outside of home to not only do a Canadian diploma, but do an Irish degree and now start working right at home. They've never left. We'd love for them to come over and have some sort of experience with us, but we're looking for ways to bring our partnerships to the world. And we do this not because we think we're better, but we do this because we know that it enriches our experience. It enriches our abilities. If I have a global business teacher who's never been outside of Canada, how relevant are they? But if they've actually come with me to China and spent 2 or 3 weeks working with Chinese institutions, they thoroughly understand what that life is about. So this is what the world is about now. I think in education, it's not enough to be an A student. It's about what are the extra things you've done. And being a global citizen, I think, is in my opinion, the #1 thing that's going to lead success in the future.
Great, thank you, Jim. I would only like to ask you that after here, we need to work on something of the audience feedback. I really need you to help me, because you have experience with it, the Canada model, to find out how can we get feedback from our institutions here, from our companies, from our employers, from the community, about the quality of education that their children are receiving from these institutions. And I believe once we get that, it will be the basis of improving Uganda's education system. But thank you for coming. We meet at the fair tomorrow. Robert, anything?
Just want to thank Baba TV for hosting us and working with us into this journey of getting this, expose the country to this international education. And believe me not, the sky is not even the limit. I encourage people to come tomorrow, meet these wonderful educators, and get as much information as they can.